let's tie a San Juan Midge. Anyway, this is a TMCO 2488 in a size 26. This is uni thread and 17/0 in white. I've tied the thread right behind the eye. Trim off my tag end and wrap the thread clear down into the bend of the hook. I'm going to take a piece of red tinsel. The red tinsel came from some diamond braid that I took apart, and I took just a strand of it. I'm going to use it as my little tag end or butt end of my fly. I'm adjusting the length of the tag end so I'm covering the end of it without pulling it through. Now I'm just nailing it down. I'm going to wrap probably 3 or 4 wraps of the tinsel, and just I wanted to lay them right up on top of each other. I don't want to get a lot of red tinsel on the bottom, and if I do get a little wide, I'm just going to cover it with the abdomen material. I'll trim off my excess tinsel. Now I've got a piece of peacock herl that's been stripped and dyed red. Or dyed, in this case, dyed brown. I've cut a little taper in it, and I'll loosely wrap and then pull it so that the taper's right underneath my thread wrap. Now I'm going to build the abdomen section. Since I added so much material at the back end, in proportion to this fly, I need to build up the body a little bit so it doesn't look so, I just get a thin abdomen. I'll bring it up to the thorax area and then bring it back down again just to build up. What I want it to look like is like a carrot. So it's if you think in those terms, that's how you should build up your abdomen section and your thorax. I'm going to tie off my thread, which allows me to wrap my quill. Now some guys can get away without having to do that hitch, but it always gets away from me and comes unraveled. So I always either put a half hitch or a whipping finish on there just to make sure. I'm just wrapping my quill up to the front. So you get a little space still there a little bit, but not too much. I have a tendency to crowd the head on this, and it's pretty easy to do with a hook this small. Trim off my peacock quill. Now I've got a piece of medallion sheeting, and this is in mottled brown. It's about 1/8 or a little bit more than 1/8 of an inch wide. And I'm going to use it as my wing case. Now I've got a piece of a peacock herl that's been dyed red, and I'm just using the very tip so that the little iridescent fuzzy things don't get too long on me. They're pretty fragile, I gotta admit, they are really fragile. I've got these extra small whip finishers that work really well, especially in a tight area like that. Now I'm going to take my peacock herl and put them in my hackle pliers. And I'm going to use the weight of the hackle pliers to keep tension on the peacock herl for me. That's the only way I can do it. If I try doing it manually, I break them off every time. But if I just let it hang and just use the weight of the hackle pliers, it works out just fine. You notice when as soon as I wrap and I just pull that, just barely pull that hackle pliers, it comes right off. Now I don't have a problem with the the peacock herl breaking off or anything like that. It's protected really well with that medallion sheeting, that wing case. I take my medallion sheeting and pull it over. Trim it off with my nippers. I like these nippers. I got to be careful with them though, they'll take the thread. Whip finish. Just a couple wraps. I know that I'm going to put UV resin on top, so I'm not too concerned about it coming unraveled. I'm going to turn my thread and actually coat the or color that white thread with marker. This is dark brown marker. Some extra fuzzies to trim off. My buddies swear by this fly on the San Juan. If you know the San Juan at all, they got itty bitty flies. Well, this thing's an itty bitty fly, but it's got a lot of detail to it and it works rather well. And then some days they won't take it at all. That's what makes it fun. A spot of UV resin. Actually, most of it's going to go on top of the wing, on the wing case. I'll put a little dab, I'll spread it around. And then the other place that I put a lot of that UV resin, obviously on the knot, but also on that red butt. I'll actually take a little dab of the UV resin and just place it right on top. I hit it with my laser. And that's my San Juan Midge. In time and other colors, I like them in black and brown here, and even red.